We're gonna get into the good stuff. Let's get into the speculation. Shout out to my guy Millie down there. The speculation nation. Let's go. What's going on? What's gonna happen today? Lucas, talk to me.
I don't know, man. I just heard right now that was a hack from the inside of like super.
We're gonna get into the good stuff. Let's get into the speculation. Shout out to my guy Millie down there. The speculation nation. Let's go. What's going on? What's gonna happen today? Lucas, talk to me.
I don't know, man. I just heard right now that was a hack from the inside. I'm interested in the SEC right now. I'm like, what? It's a hack on the inside, and someone's doing a short on the inside. Like you're like asking to like ruin your life with that. I don't know why you would do that from the inside. That's just crazy, dude.
It's
And then a
speculating.
long too. It was a short and then a long, all within like a 5-6 minute period. Dude ended up like profiting like 3 mil.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, is it worth doing that? I'm interested in the SEC right now, and then getting in trouble, right? Because you're going to obviously get in trouble. Like, I don't know. It's just I don't think it's worth it because you're just not going to be able. First, you're probably not going to be able to keep it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
That was all a joke though. Y'all know that, right? Like that whole shit was like it was
Oh
Robit
yeah,
does that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was.
Okay.
I thought I actually. So wait. So no one did hack it in the inside and like put that post up on Twitter.
Somebody did. I don't know if it was a hack from the inside.
Oh, I thought you guys were saying it was. I
Oh,
was like,
well,
holy
to
cow.
be clear, I specifically was being serious. Like somebody, I mean, maybe Brett was being serious too, but overall, I think, they bought before they made the tweet, or they had it before they made the tweet, whatever, whoever did that. And then they sold it before it was announced that it was fake. So I think that is a good sign of insider trading, but it is speculation.
So
Yeah,
what
it
happened?
hasn't been confirmed that it was an internal person, but I mean, confirmed somebody did short it, then long it, profit the hell out of it, and their user. I mean, and they made their username on Rollbit Gary Gensler, which is kind of hilarious.
That was the best fucking part of the whole thing. It was like Gary Gensler strikes again. Dum dum dum. Roll bit 1,000x leverage on a 20 grand bet. Okay, hold on a second. No, but let's get serious for 2 seconds. Kalano, like I'm curious to hear your take. Like, what do you think happens today? Do you think we get the ETF gets approved? If not, and also like what happens to the markets? What are you thinking?
I don't think especially after yesterday, I don't not think it's going to happen today. I think they're going to like kind of like set a little precedence myself, and it's not like nothing's going to happen today, and people are just going to be hanging out for like the word from that, and they're just going to be very disappointed. That's my guess.
Kalano, that means Lucas has you on the brain. So when I say Kalano, like that means you're still like you're living in there like rent free for the morning. So he's probably thinking about the interview from way back when. You know what I mean? He's like, what did I say back then? I wonder.
Yeah, I think that's what I also figured out. But no, I mean, first of all, it does sound like a bit of an insider trading, right? The intern definitely had a long and a short planned. That's my thoughts on that. But more seriously, I don't know. I don't think they can really announce it today. So even if it was approved, I think they would have to keep it under wrap at least until the weekend to kind of let it die down. But thankfully, crypto degens have a really short memory. As long as there's a green candle coming, we are pretty forgiving.
So check this out, and I think like this is where I may like somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but from my homework, I'm seeing today is the last today at 4 p.m. EST. They have to make a decision by hook or by crook. It doesn't matter. It's yes or no. Now, a lot of people I've been hearing saying like, oh, well, yesterday might be grounds for like another delay. As far as I know, from what I'm looking at, it is today. It's do or die. Like they have to say yes or no. So let's pretend that we're all in that bucket. Like they have to say yes or no.
I'm gonna go ahead and say no then.
Really?
Maybe they can do it like the budget, Congress budget, and just keep raising the ceiling, like keep delay like another 2 weeks, another 3 weeks. I don't know what tricks they have up their sleeve, but I'm definitely staying up tonight. No early night for me. I want to see this play out in real time. Maybe make a trade. Maybe get wrecked. Who knows?
I think they'll announce it this weekend, going into a holiday weekend, because then I mean, like, it's not like. I'm pretty sure, like, isn't trading Martin Luther King Day is a bank holiday, right? So there's no trading active on that day, like traditional trading.
Correct. Markets are closed. Yes.
Yep. I think they'll announce it this weekend, then giving everybody an extra day with the markets being closed.
Hold on. Let me get my sources here. Doc, welcome to the stage, my guy. What is up?
What's up? What's up, Dave? How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Good morning.
Good morning. So, I'm gonna say that it does not have to be a yes or a no today. Um, the SEC can postpone till March, uh, and totally be within that realm, right? With the Grayscale Trust lawsuit. So, I would say, I don't. I do think that there's that speculation, and I think there's support behind it, right? That because of this debacle, they do push it back. They may not, but the big thing is in March when they have to make that decision, yes or no. But ultimately, it's got to be a yes, because if they say no, another lawsuit's filed, and a BlackRoot lawsuit. I'm sorry, a BlackRock lawsuit as well. So, in my estimation, I honestly think that they may postpone it. Probably not. They probably do announce it today, but sooner or later they got to approve it, man. And that's what that lawsuit did back in August. Is basically forced the SEC's hand.
Wait a minute. First off, you're supposed to come up here and support me. I'm your friend. No, no, but I could have. Am I making this up when I'm saying that like today was today not a deadline, like a hard deadline, like that they couldn't delay anymore, or did I see that incorrect?
Today is a deadline, right, for the ARK Invest, but they can push that one back. But it's the Grayscale one. So from the determination or the judgment call, they have 240 days. Basically, what happened is the judge said, "Look, you've already approved a Bitcoin futures ETF, and so your argument that that Grayscale doesn't have the support to protect the volatility and the manipulation of the markets, it's not well founded because you've already approved that for a Bitcoin futures, and so it's the same product. It's just a spot Bitcoin ETF." And so they're like, you either have to come up with a different argument or it's got to be approved. And the SEC, there's different deadlines that they have. And I don't remember if it's like every 90 days or around that, but basically they ultimately have 240 days from the time of that judge's decision to either approve it or disapprove it and say, we don't agree. But then again, if they don't agree, they're going to go back to court. And then you have all of these other spot Bitcoin ETF applicants that are also going to jump in on that lawsuit because they don't have another argument that they're going to win. So it'll either be today. I mean, they can approve it any time, right? But today was a deadline where they've got to either push it back and say, we want additional time, or they can approve it. But even if they push it back, they could still approve it tomorrow. But it does give them additional time if they so want it. But again, there is that hard deadline in March.
Womp womp. Okay, I guess I thought it was like today's the day. I guess maybe I was trying to build a little suspense, but no, Doc. Thank you. I appreciate that insight. What do you think is like? Give me one more time. What do you think is going to happen? You think
Well, this whole thing, this whole hack Twitter account throws a wrench in things. I was of the opinion. I'm like, look, it's happening. The SEC basically told all of the applicants like December 30th or the 29th, they're like, you have to, like, final amendments to your application, you got to put that in. And so to me, all of these things, all the discussions they were having were basically signaling that it was going to happen today. But then with this hack, I don't know if they're going to use this as kind of like you know what, we need more time. We got to investigate this stuff. Was there an insider doing insider trading? We got to clean house before, so we can protect the investors. And I just thought it was funny. This whole thing is so funny because, I mean, I made a tweet about it, right? But I was like, the SEC, we're here to protect investors. And I'm like, also SEC, we can't even protect our own Twitter account. Too funny, man. Too funny.
Doc, the best place to find information about the SEC is the SEC. Don't you know that?
yeah, right.
Wild. Yeah, so I'm reading it here now, Doc. Like, I guess I GPT'd it. It says the official deadline for the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to make a decision on the spot Bitcoin ETF is set for early 2024. Under SEC guidelines, the regulator can delay ETF applications for up to 240 days from the first filing in the Federal Register. The final deadline for ARK's Bitcoin ETF is in January, while other firms' offerings could receive approval or disapproval as late as March. So this includes major asset managers like BlackRock, ARK Invest, Bitwise, VanEck, Wisdom Tree, Invesco, Galaxy, Fidelity, and Valkyrie. Wait, so does that mean that today there is a deadline for ARK today, and ARK is going to get a decision today?
Yeah, I guess, and maybe I misunderstood that, but I thought it was more from that ruling that with Grayscale's application, because I thought the Grayscale had filed before ARK Invest did. I mean, they had filed a long time ago. So does someone else? Sorry, go ahead if someone else has more information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Taco, go for it.
ARK filed first. That's what happened there. So the whole news. I mean, I think we all were like, oh, BlackRock, just because how big they are. But ARK definitely made the first moves on this one. That's why today really matters. It's because of ARK. And BlackRock filed it, so they're like, wait, if that person gets it, we should be able to get it too. That's kind of the sentiment and what's happening right now.
Yeah, and there's that whole thought process of the SEC doesn't want to become a kingmaker, right? And that would definitely piss off BlackRock. If they approved ARK Invests only, that gives them a first mover advantage, and that would be massive in this space. And so the theory, and I feel like, again, is well supported, that if they approve it, they're going to approve all of them at once, which then is great for Bitcoin and the marketing that's going to hit the market for any Bitcoin holders. Is all of those firms are going to be pumping out a ton of marketing to try to get, to fill their bags and get as much of the market share as possible with the ETF.
They're already advertising right now. I mean, we see ads all over the place for these ETFs that don't even exist yet.
Yeah, but so much more is coming, right? Like tens of millions of dollars in marketing is going to be hitting like everywhere. It's going to be wild whenever that is, because again, yeah, then there'll be lawsuits if the SEC does have the right to only approve ARK Invest if they wanted to. But again, I don't think that Gensler wants to get in trouble with BlackRock.
Yeah, I was gonna say that meeting with Larry Fink won't go very well. Yeah, but we got somebody. Edward, how are you? Welcome.
How's it going?
Doing good, man. What's good?
Pretty good, pretty good. I just woke up, went out for a walk. I hear you guys talking about the SEC, and then someone just mentioned the 2FA. Have you guys set that up?
Edward, what happened? Terrible. I guess we lost Ed. I don't know what happened.
He didn't have 2FA enabled. That's what happened.
Oh, we missed it. Shoot. All right, that's okay. He'll come back. Yeah, man. The trolls are trying to come out. I'm trying to give people shots over here. You know what I mean? But yo, Taco, talk to me, man. What's up?
Yeah, what's up, folks? Heated conversation. I'm going to come at this with a separate angle, slightly longer term. If we just look at the 12-year log scale of BTC, there's always been a pre-halving run-up followed by a pre-halving correction in the prices of BTC, irrespective of an ETF or no ETF. And this just seems textbook. Very similar to all other pre-halvings. So I think a lot of this ETF news was kind of a nothing burger, if you ask me. It's happened the last 3 times. This is the 4th time. I believe if the ETF had happened or not have happened, BTC would have moved in very much the same way. So I'm just going to put this news aside and say this is going to be very similar to every other halving prior, BlackRock or no BlackRock, ETF or no ETF.
What does the market do?
The 90 days prior to the halving, a substantial run-up, followed by a correction of anything between 30% to 60% in the 30 days immediately before the halving, followed by a move into a long, strong bull market immediately after.
That's very definitive. I like it. Yeah, Kayla, go for it.
I think a lot of that has to do with tax harvesting and the halving, and it does come down to just like historic patterns. So I think if you wanted a short or long Bitcoin, you could really do so based on what he was saying about, the halving historically, what's happened, tax harvesting when it happens, which is right about now. Usually we see a dip and then like we see a rise when people are not harvesting taxes. And historically, that happens right about now. So I think it's interesting timing. I almost feel like they've waited for a strategic time to do this where they really couldn't have a lot of people manipulating the market. And I mean, let's just speculate fully. If I wanted to scare people from doing so, I would probably hack the SEC and be like, "Oh no, it already happened. You missed the boat."
Got it. Yo, sorry guys, I don't know what is going on with Twitter right now, but it is literally just rugging everybody, removing people. What is happening? Hey Gab, good morning. Um, yeah, this is kind of crazy. I don't even know what's going on over here. Yeah, Doc, go for it while I try and figure out what's going on in the background.
Yeah, no. So I just had I guess, two questions, one for Taco and one for Kayla. But like Taco, so your comments about Bitcoin going to be doing the same thing as it has all the previous cycles. Do you not think that institutional money, if this Bitcoin ETF gets approved today, that institutions aren't going to start putting in additional funds that could disrupt previous cycles and how they acted beforehand? So that's that question. And then Kayla, my understanding, like for my tax loss harvesting, like I did that in December, right? Like it's end of the fiscal year, and so I was looking at any tokens that were down, and there's no wash trade rule. So then I would sell those and then just buy them back immediately to retain my position. So if it's typically happened, like I just maybe appreciate your insight as to why, like you're saying, tax loss harvesting like in January or this time. So, anyways, those were my questions.
So, you know, there's not really like a specific period, but you need to complete all of it by the end of December 31st, and it's barely even the middle of January. So, to assume everybody has liquid on hand, like, the second January 1st happens, is kind of not a good bet, in my opinion. I've seen February historically be a time where people start putting money back in, but this is speculation, not financial advice. So, I guess my point would be that people don't really put the money back in until February. I'd love to know if anybody else has just seen that kind of pattern spending from their own observations.
Taco, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I'll go back to the discussion of retail money. Do we all remember this CME Bitcoin's listing? Right, down to the nearest first trading day was the absolute top of that bull market cycle. So I think we just sometimes have to consider that retail money doesn't behave the way we expect it to. I don't think we can differentiate this cycle from previous cycles simply because this ETF is coming at a time when we are already into a bull market move. So I can I think ignorantly just say, if I was to remove this news altogether, the chart would just look as if there is no news at all, as if this thing's just behaving as it's always behaved, which is a problem. You can't dissect this, I'm afraid. Had this happened in, let's say, mid last year or in the midst of a bear market, then you could probably have seen some sort of break in the trend, and I can say, that's when it happened. I can point to it right there. But at this point in time, it's very difficult.
Got it. Lucas, welcome back, man. Sorry about that, dude. I don't know what the hell is going on with Twitter. If I did kick you, it was definitely not on purpose. It was definitely on accident.
It's
So I
all good, dude.
apologize.
No worries, man. No worries at all.
Good stuff. Gab, I know that Gab is driving, but I mean, I guess I'm curious, like, and we're gonna, because guys, stick around. Like, we're gonna roll into this next space in a little bit, in a couple of minutes, but and it's gonna be an absolutely dope space. But here's what I want to know: like, what are the markets? Like, how should the markets interpret this today? Because if, let's say, there is a decision today for ARK Invest, right, and they do make a decision on one, which I can't see that just being one. They would probably do it across the board. But if they just do, let's say, that one, how do the markets not respond like positively? Like, I can't really see a sell-off because it was like yesterday was the news, and it was like everybody sold on the news, but it was the fake news. So where does where does this go from here?
Dude, I think people are going to be very skeptical on any if there's any announcement today. Whether it's positive or negative, I think that a lot of people are going to sit on their hands for at least a few minutes before realistically doing anything. I mean, like, again, I'm not by any means a professional trader, but I would definitely, not be leveraged against, the anticipation of any news currently. I would definitely kind of just hang in there, sit on your hands for a little while, maybe like shut your computer off, turn your phone off and go take a walk later, like.
But then you missed that exciting 15, 20 minutes that we had yesterday.
You would have missed
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
However, you may have also saved money, or
yeah,
maybe.
my orders didn't quite fill, so.
It was Mati. Yeah, Taco.
So, two things. First of all, this is perhaps the most craziest market out of everything I've ever seen. You don't see a $500 billion market cap move based on a tweet or on something that Elon Musk said or on some sort of meme. And this seems to happen in this space almost every other week, which I think is nuts. More importantly, I think most folks have kind of realized that this ETF is going to happen sooner or later, and we've been talking about it for 6 months. In my opinion, there's a strong enough case to say that a lot of this is already priced in, and when these doors do open, it's going to be more akin to a long, structured trickle of institutional money coming into the space, as opposed to like the floodgates opening, and we're expecting this just to hit it hard on first day. I don't think so.
But here's my question. When we say priced in, these are not equities, right? This is people that own Bitcoin that have custody over their own shit. Like this is a very different ball game. Like why would you sell the new, like you own Bitcoin? Oh, the news came out. ETF. Oh, so there's going to be a ton of institutional money going into these markets. Let me sell this news. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like really, it genuinely doesn't. Somebody may like make it make sense. Kayla, please, or Doc, yeah, whoever.
There's going to be traders that are just trading, right? So they have bought, and I mean that's their whole the structure of how they try to make profits, right? So there will definitely be people that are buying the rumor and selling the news. But you're right, like Bitcoin, like if you look at that, like I saw a statistic, and correct me, like as to the percentage, it's around like 70% of people who hold Bitcoin have been like holding for a very long time, right? And so I agree with you that this is not like most of those people are not going to be selling. And I also agree with Taco in the fact that like institutional money, like it is not going to be a floodgates thing, right? This is a new asset class for these institutions. And typically what happens, they dip their toes in, right? Where it's like 3 to 5 basis points, which doesn't not sound like a lot, but when you've got like the top 10 asset managers that have about 44.5 trillion of assets under management, 3 to 5 basis points actually is a substantial amount of money. It's tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars. But over time, they allocate about 3 to 5% of their portfolios in this asset class if it performs well, right? So that's where you start getting into trillions of dollars. But it is a longer term thing. They're not going to just dump in all of this money. However, retail are, with this marketing and stuff, I do expect a lot more people buying in and wanting exposure to that. And that's where some of it, I do think that there can be a pump, but not like this massive pump. But there's also the speculation on that too, that there's that volatility because of that, right? Which is an X factor there.
Copy. And yeah, let's go, Kayla, then Taco, and then we're gonna roll into Quantum Expedition. Yep, go, Kayla.
I just wanted to say, I wanted to point out that there's a lot of anniversaries happening right now for Bitcoin. I don't know if anyone really looks into that, but it's the anniversary of the first ever post from Hal Finney today on Twitter, which is like running Bitcoin. And I just thought that was interesting timing in relation to the day before hack. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. Like a lot of these anniversaries, I'm looking forward to because I feel like there might be some kind of hype around them.
Wait, what is it again? Can you say that one more time?
It's the anniversary of the first time Hal Finney ever posted on about Bitcoin, or there was ever a tweet about Bitcoin, and it just says it's Hal Finney, and he said running Bitcoin today, 15 years ago. And the Bitcoin community is really, really bullish on their anniversaries. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some other funny news. I don't want to call it funny, interesting news around Bitcoin and like just its historic holidays.
Interesting. Yeah, Taco.
Wow, I did not know that. That's pretty cool. This is why we like Halo. I want to go back to the topic of hedge funds and asset managers in this space. There are a large bunch, by the way. Nothing like you see in the institutional world, but Digital Currency Group, Amber Group, Pantera Capital, Dragonfly, Parlay Chain Capital. Some of them are $5 billion AUMs, some of them are $20 billion AUMs. So there are large players in this space. They do understand narratives. They do understand how retail markets behave. And I'm pretty sure they understand principles of selling into this liquidity when it's there, which most of the time is retail plebs like me who think they can trade on the news. And we become really, really good exit liquidity for some of these highly experienced folks in the space.
Finally, somebody said it, and I didn't have to be the one to say it. It's like, yeah, we all think we're the best traders in the world. Yeah, Drew, and then we're going to roll in. Go for it. Drew. Yeah, Drew's just like, yo, I'm chilling. I'm here. I'm good. Thank you for the vote of confidence, Drew. Amazing. Gav, you with me? Nobody. Why would anybody want to come to this? You know what I mean?
Hey, Dave, just real quick. I've got to
Yeah.
bounce. I've got a work call I've got to take, but I appreciate the discussion, and I'll have to listen to the rest of the recording. But awesome space. Thanks so much.
Amazing, man. Doc, thank you for the insight. I really, really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Mati, how are you? I don't know. Are you behind the Quantum account? Are you behind the Bitcoin frog? Where are you?
How long could I pull off? How long could I pull off being
I'm in
Mati?
front of it, man.
How long could I pull that off? That's the question.
Oh, it depends. It depends who you're talking to, honestly.
I was bullish on Bitcoin, so it worked. So,
what is going on right now?
Nice.
What's happening? The frog is talking, but not. He's He's muted. Oh my god!
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I mute while I'm not talking because I have some background noise and stuff.
Who's behind the Quantum account?
That's Justin.
Oh,
Justin Kramer.
Oh my god! Because I hear
operating
both
officer of Quantum Expeditions. Yeah, formerly CEO of Badgerland Mining Company, and yeah, one of the
got it. Okay.
Yeah,
it was just
strongest players on our team.
Yeah, it was just throwing me
known as
off
a
little
good
bit.
Kramer.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gav. What's up?
Oh, brother, you got me. I appreciate the patience. I was in the car with some people talking, and I wanted people to give proper attention to this. I'm bringing up Doug right now as well. Yeah, I'm super happy to hop right into this one. This is going to be actually, Dave, I think this is the first official.
Oh, was it just me?
No, we got it right.
Nope. We lost him. He's in the car. First official rug.
Bluetooth
first rug of the year.
I was waiting for it. It's like, this is the first official, I think AMA actually on the Wolf Web 3 channel is what he was going to say. I'll finish that sentence for him. So congratulations, us. Let's go. And we couldn't be more excited, obviously, to be doing it with Mati, with Doug, with Justin, and the Quantum Expedition guys. I guess let us know, Gab, whenever. Yeah, there you go. He's back. What's up? They used to call them whispers back in the day.
We heard that this is the first official, and then you cut out.
He's coming back. Well, why don't we start with this? Guys, give us some brief introductions. Who's behind which account? I see that the team is here. Doug's here. Action's here. Mati's here. Justin's here. So, Justin, why don't we start with you? Just kind of maybe give us some a quick 20-second brief intro for you.
Yeah, so my name's Justin Kramer. I'm the COO of Quantum Expeditions. I love mining. So basically anything and everything mining. I got into crypto in 2017, discovered mining, and really haven't turned back since. So that's my story in a nutshell.
Nice. And I apologize for before. I really thought it was the same person behind there. Mati, how are you?
I'm having fun, man. Living the life. Honestly, cannot complain. Everything's going well. I'm really enjoying this bull run. It's been a long time coming. Yeah, and so I'm Mati Greenspan. I'm the CEO of Quantum Economics, which is a firm for research and advisory. With me today is the core team, some of the stronger team of Quantum Expeditions, our Bitcoin mining venture in the United States, where we are mining Bitcoin. Gav, you don't have to raise your hand. This is your space.
No, it's fine. I just kind of wanted to let him know that, yeah, first official rug of the year has happened, but I'm back better than ever up here. Super excited to dive in. There's so much going on today to talk about in this world of Bitcoin. Obviously, there was some stuff happening yesterday. It's going to be hilarious if they do approve it today or tomorrow and nobody believes it and things are happening. But regardless, no better company, in my opinion, to be having Bitcoin conversations with right now. If you're somewhat curious as to what's going to happen in the world of Bitcoin if these get approved, or forget all that, what's happening with Bitcoin in 2024, regardless, where's the money to be made? Where's the opportunity? You're in the right space. These are all things we're going to be talking about and covering, plus a deep dive into the mining area here. So with that being said, Dave, I'll turn it back to you if you want to keep it rolling around here. I'm here to hang out, listen, and learn.
Let's go. Doug, how are you, my friend? Welcome to the space.
Hey.
I'm excited to have you, man. What's going on?
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you. And honored to be your first this year. So that's pretty cool. But no, my name's Doug Hardwick. I'm the CEO. I've been in the energy space now for over 20 years. And so that's really the expertise I was bringing to, or have been bringing to the company. And so I'm really excited about that. And I will say one other thing on yesterday, being in the commodities for the last 20 years, these wild swings up and down aren't unusual. So, if you remember, it'll be 3 years or 2 years ago next month, we had this big deep freeze in Texas, caused the natural gas prices to go up, which caused the electricity prices to just swing way dramatically high, like $100 from what most people would pay 10 or 20 cents for. So we've been part of that. It all settles out and everybody, does regular business once, the chaos settles down. So, if anybody gets anxious or, as we say down in Texas, if you get your panties in a wad, don't worry, you'll be fine. It'll settle out.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, look, I'm excited to get into the conversation today. We got a stacked panel up here. I appreciate all you guys coming through. We got Taco, Lucas, Action is here. Tell us, Action, I apologize. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm so used to Action being on my panel, not being on the other team. Action, welcome, man.
Nah, man, I'm not on anybody's. I'm on everybody's team, man. I'm the company jester. That's all it is. Like, if you think I know anything about mining, you haven't heard from Justin yet. Like, don't stress. We're all on the same team here.
Let's go.
Don't be so humble, man. Don't be so humble.
We had an intense debate in here yesterday, and I'm waiting for Harry to come back and kind of put the screws. He was like,
No. Okay, Dave, you walked away for a few minutes, and I took over this thing, and it went a little wild. I apologize about that. So I'm trying to be good today.
You're good. Nah, but we have a great panel. Thank you guys, obviously, for all being here. To the listeners as well. Poppy, I see that Poppy joined us too. We got Kalano with us. So let's kind of kick things off. Justin, maybe just kind of kick us off maybe and tell us what is or who is Quantum Expeditions and what's everybody doing here?
So Quantum Expeditions is an upstart mining company. I guess I'll give you my background and how I got into it. So what I really like about this is with Quantum Expeditions and Badgerland Mining Club merging, we both came to the same conclusion that there's an appetite for a crowdfunded mining farm. In two completely different ways. So Madi and Oz did it through research, through analytics, looking at just mining data and profitability, things like that. I did it through just nose to the grindstone and talking to people. I still do sell miners, and I'd have people come to me that it just wasn't right for them to mine at home. So I'm trying to find an alternative for them. And that's where we came up with this concept to give home miners and retail investors access to an opportunity like this. So that's one of the things I really like, is that we both came to that same conclusion from two completely different starting points.
Yeah, so tell me, I mean, you guys are obviously like a diverse group over here. Like, Doug, how did this whole thing come about, right? Like, how did you guys like how did we say, oh, this is we're gonna go buy some some mining equipment and we're gonna set up in Texas?
Well, those are good questions. I mean, as far as me, it was 2 years ago. last October, I think it was, that Oz gave me a buzz. Him and Maddie were, trying to figure out how to, get into that mining, and they all knew that Texas was the number one state at that point because China had already kicked everybody out. And so through mutual friends, Oz was recommended to give me a call for flared gas. And so that's kind of how I got involved in it. And being here in Texas, and our team is literally all over the country or the world, the country and the world. So it was natural for me to kind of, I guess, fit into that shoe. I had about 6 months before Maddie and Oz gave me a call. I actually opened my first wallet, and somebody that I knew was trading cryptocurrencies. He said, just buy 10, the top 10, and whatever you could afford to lose. And so that's what I did. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, these guys are calling me and say, hey, you got some gas? And I'm like, what do you need gas for? Mining. And so, it's funny how it all works together. But, I mean, there's a whole big story about everything. I don't guess this is the right place, but,
Nah.
Yes, sir. It's really, really interesting how everything just kind of fit into place. When we first started, and Maddie can tell the story better than I can, because Bitcoin mining, our Bitcoin 2 years ago, was going up $60 a coin. And then, situations prevented us from mining at that time, prevented us from buying miners that were 3 times the price of where they are today. So, I mean, a lot of things fell into place, and it was just the right time, the right place, the right people. I mean, it's just like a puzzle just fell together in the
Doug?
exact right time. Go ahead.
Dave loves hot takes. Can you tell? I mean, the best way to explain this is like a Christian, a Muslim, and a Jew walked into a bar.
That's what we are. Right? I mean, you can't write a story. I mean, Steven Spielberg couldn't figure this one out.
All right, so tell us. So give it this open for any of you guys, right? Like, where is, I guess, Quantum Expedition now, right? Like, are we currently mining? Like, are you guys up and running?
Yes.
Talk to me,
Justin. Would you give him the latest?
Yeah, so we are up and running. I almost gave too much information. I caught myself. We are up and running. So we have been hashing since before the new year. So our goal was January 1st to be hashing, and we were able to surpass that by, I believe, 5 or 6 days. So I was pretty excited about that. So we have some more goals that we're mulling around, and we're going to set those and try to surpass those goals as well this time around again.
Got it. Can you give us some more details on like how many miners?
Yeah,
I know that,
so we've got
100.
We've got 144 miners that are all hashing. I am actually about an hour and 45 minutes from heading down there to button up the facility and just make sure that everything is in place, that all the redundancies are there. So if something does happen, that we stay operational. So the last thing I want is for us to lose any time hashing if it can be avoided.
Copy. Harry, I know you're here. You and Action had a great discussion yesterday. I was loving it. So please kick us. Go.
I won. Just gonna put that out there. Go, Harry.
No, we didn't.
You won the discussion. Very good, Action.
Actually, I don't think he did. But anyway, regardless, let's focus on it. Quantum, this is going to be directed at the CEO. It's just easy to talk to the person that controls all of this, so that way I get the right answers. Question number 1: what type of miners are you using?
They're 19
S19K Pros. So the
S19K Pros.
The 115, you get a little more bang for your buck on those versus the 120s.
You do, and I'm assuming you're going to be rolling out the S21s shortly. Then, Oh,
It
no.
really depends how the market for those goes. So the market's been floating higher for those, but drifting lower for K-Pros. So it's just going to be a matter of what the math looks like, and just making sure that with the K-Pros, we're not going to have a problem with the halving at all. We'll be able to underclock these spectacularly if we need to, and I don't think we will need to. I think the hash rate or the difficulty is going to drop significantly like it has after previous halvings. So K-Pros or S21s are definitely on the table.
Excellent. And so with your S19 K-Pros, I forget, what's their consumption rate? Hash
23
rate?
joules per watt.
23 joules. So you're looking at almost 23 joules per hash. So if you're looking at a terahash.
And if you guys can translate into English at the end of
Oh,
everything,
sorry.
that would be great.
So we went with the S19s instead of the 21s. That was it was a critical decision for us. And also, by the way, the day that we purchased them was the exact true market bottom for the price of these machines. But the reason that we went with the S19s instead of the 21s was because we did the math, and we figured and it really was about the halving, because after the halving, assuming that hash rate's going up, and assuming that the price of Bitcoin's going up, and assuming that we have a low electricity cost, which we do, these ones were actually more profitable bang for our buck. And then we'll feel much more comfortable letting them go later on once they appreciate the value.
Yeah, and we didn't have to worry about pre-order and potential delays or anything like that. So like I said, our goal is to be hashing before January. So if the S21s aren't going to start shipping to normal people, not influencers like Action, they'll start shipping to normal people next week.
Influencers like Action. Go ahead, Harry. I don't know if you want to finish, but I want to go to Poppy after. But I want to let you finish.
Yes, please. And your energy per kilowatt hour is
nice try, bud.
I was not. I almost.
No. Hold on. Ready? You guys are doing crowdfunding and crowdsourcing, right? For funding.
Yes, sir.
If you are not fully transparent, I'll take my money to CleanSpark and TerraWolf that have disclosed what their energy cost rate is.
And the debt, right? They also have the debt to go along with it.
Hi, folks. This
Which
is
they're
Oz.
paying down, sir. Action. Which mean you've had this discussion just yesterday. I'm not asking for an exact. Are you sub 3? Are you sub 4? Are you sub 5? Are you sub 6? I'm not asking.
I'm not asking for the exact amount. I'm just asking for the exact.
Yeah.
rate.
Hey, Wolf. This is Oz.
Yeah, Oz. How are you?
Not too bad. Just to kind of keep this in picture. So, we've negotiated some pretty competitive rates inside of a couple different domiciles. We're also it's basically this, like in Texas, we have ERCOT and non-ERCOT grid with the relationship we have. In a couple other states that we're deploying in, we've got preferential rates. I'm going to put it to you this way. Like, part of our secret sauce is the fact that we can hold these rates down. I'm going to tell you that they are highly competitive inside of the marketplace right now. I am also going to tell you that because we're a private company without any debt, and all of the companies with debt are basically, they have to disclose everything, right? Because they're carrying a tremendous amount on their books for these same machines that were purchased at a factor of 10 of what we have purchased them for. So, not to, be disingenuous or anything here, but there's a little bit of secret sauce we kind of got to hold on to here. I will tell you that we're wildly profitable with these things, and we're looking to leverage the crowd fund to basically fill multiple containers and scale this. And the benefit's really just going to be to our investors. But it's, if you want to invest in a stock that's carrying a tremendous amount of debt, that's also your option.
And I think too, the other thing to consider is, oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. I should have wrote it down.
You're good. We'll come right back to you, Justin. Poppy, what's good?
Hey. Yeah, so these could be some noob questions because I didn't get to do any research. I just saw the space come up and I jumped up and I'm interested. So, what's the concept specifically? Like, are you guys looking to go public? People can invest in the company specifically, or are you dishing out mined coin to individuals that invest in rigs based off of a fractionalized NFT purchase? Like, what's the just base level, just so I can understand, and then I'll ask
I
another
think you said
question.
it right off the bat. So the goal is to eventually do Series A and to go public. And I did remember my other thought. So the other thing to consider about the rate is it is a highly competitive market, and we are still a smaller player. So if we give away too much information, like the approximate location and about what rate we're going, we might get snaked. So that's something that we got to consider as well.
Okay. Can I ask my other question there?
Yeah, of course,
And then
Poppy, go for it.
my other question
go ahead,
was,
Poppy.
so my other question was, what would make people want to invest in you guys in comparison to, say, mining apparatus and organizations in Paraguay or other places in the world where energy is like quite a bit more affordable in comparison?
So the mining in Paraguay.
It's an excellent question. Let me
stability.
Yep.
So also opportunity. I mean, it's. If you have an opportunity to invest in one of those places in Paraguay, I mean, go for it. I think that everybody should have a diverse portfolio. Anyways, the point is that we're a company right now where you're able to invest very simply through WeFunder.com. And, it walks you through the entire process as an online, you do it with your credit card or a bank account, rather than having to go through some, back channels and hoping that everything goes through okay, and do months of research or get in on some big deal or whatever. Anybody with $100 or a few thousand is able to invest. Our market cap that you're investing at the moment is only 25 million. Whereas, some of these mining companies who have been doing it for 3-4 years already, they're already, let's say Riot is about 3 billion today, and Marathon's at about 5 billion valuation. So you're getting a chance to invest in a deal that would usually be only available for VCs and stuff like that, in a reputable company who has a panel of reputable people on the board, and who all have a history of delivering large scale projects. So that's the advantage in my view.
Okay, yeah. So, quick follow up then. So, you're saying ease of entry specifically for your everyday person, and also like political stability as well too. The reason why I ask is, I'm pretty heavily involved in the crypto space. Spend every day doing a lot of research, looking into different things, and I just dropped about 10 or 15K USD in a mining company in Paraguay, and have myself NFTs, and now I'm getting wrapped Bitcoin on Polygon right now, and it's going pretty well. But the big difference is most people won't have access to these things because they haven't done the time and research and made the connections that they need to find smaller market cap opportunities like I have. So. And also, I'm seeing what's happening in Ecuador right now and other South American countries as well too. I just got back from Colombia, and things are relatively stable in some of those countries, but then all of a sudden, at the drop of a hat, something could shift because look at what's happening in Ecuador right now. So, I appreciate you answering those questions. I think it looks good for you guys to be able to answer the questions. I mean, for anybody that wants to do 3 or 4 months of research and understanding, or digging into finding context to find little gems like I have, it's quite a bit of work and time. But I think in the grand scheme of things, you guys are a great option in that aspect because of the stability and because of the ease of access. Thank you for answering my questions.
And Poppy,
Thanks for that, Poppy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're a legend as far as how much research you do. That's for sure. And you saying Colombia is stable. That's probably because you're in Medellin, not in Cali.
Yeah,
right?
no, I mean generally. Yeah, I mean, generally stable. And Medellin 20 years ago was not stable. It was the most dangerous place in the world. So there's big shifts and changes. But like 3 weeks before that, I was like, people were like, yeah, you should go down to Ecuador. It's really nice down there. And then like in the past couple of days, I'm like, holy shit, the place is falling apart. So
Exactly.
yeah,
And that, I mean, you're not going to get anything negative out of, Mati or Justin or any of these guys. They're not going to tell you how it's a risk for you to send your miners down to Paraguay and, be mining at a rate that you're technically not allowed to be mining with, and that your stuff could get seized at any day if somebody finds out that those, rates that you're mining with are business rates and not crypto miner rates, right? Like there's a lot of things that people don't even think about when they're making those decisions. But ultimately, like the reason I love these guys here and working with them is because they're not about, talking poorly about other people. They're not about any of that. They will encourage you, hey, you're going to invest in Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, get exposure in multiple different avenues, like diversify, even if it's just within Bitcoin. Like their goal is not to take anybody to the bank. Their goal is to really progress this entire ecosystem. There's enough money out there. Let's be serious, guys. There's plenty of VCs, and it's just a matter of time before they go, wait, Quantum is making how much? Okay, yeah, we're going to go buy out the entire allocation that's available here. And our goal, and the reason why I love working with these guys, is that they're making it available to the regular people, to me. Like I can go in there and literally drop $100 and be a part of this, be mining, as opposed to having to set up gear and get myself a sauna in my garage the way I've done in the past. It's just not a viable option, and they make it as accessible and available to everybody.
Good stuff, Action. I just want to check really quickly on Wolf. Is he, Gab, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I wanted to throw a quick thought in, and I love the back and forth. And I think that, part of this is something that you're going to hear on stage for anybody that's coming on, right? Obviously, these guys, they're raising capital to go build this out. They're looking to retail to be those investors. I mean, I put a link right in the top of the space. If anyone hasn't checked it out, it's pretty crucial to the conversation that we're having. So if you're in here anyways, you might as well go up to the top of the space and just click that, right? And check out, there's a full WeFunder campaign happening here. So when you hear kind of the back and forth that's happening on stage, it's not animosity, it's due diligence, right? These are people that are coming to ask the real questions, the hard questions, as anybody should, right? You should never invest in something that you don't understand. And hopefully, a space like this, like for me, for example, big reason why I invest in Tesla, I've literally been doing Tesla spaces every week for a year. I've heard every single which argument, right? I've gone through the hard questions, the easy questions, and that's what we're going to be doing here as well. Bitcoin is a really interesting area. The mining area of it, I think, is going to be super profitable, especially over these next coming years, especially if we get some good news in the next day or two, which I'm looking forward to. But regardless, this is the type of environment that I think we can all look to as investors. And so you're hearing, great questions here from Harry and Poppy and a bunch of others on stage. And that's important, right? And there's going to be pushback on both sides, but I want to commend the speakers that are up here and the team from Quantum has come as well for coming and answering those questions. And I encourage everybody, if you're thinking about investing in this area, well, you probably own some Bitcoin. And the cool part is, for less than $100, you can also have exposure to these miners. So the link's at the top of the space, but we'll make it really easy. If you want to check out more info, you can just DM this account or the host account the word Bitcoin, and we'll get it right over to you. But again, just a big thank you to all the speakers that are on stage, and we can keep this convo rolling. I'll throw it over to Oz here, and then Dave, back to you after.
Hey guys, so two things I wanted to just touch on. What Action had said speaks volumes, but I think one of the biggest issues that investors need to be looking at is how to de-risk these things. And there's a lot of exciting investments in, volcano Bitcoin mining and things like that. But there's also a significant amount of risk that comes with that. And there's also political risk that comes with that. I mean, if you look at what's going on at Ecuador and the opportunity for that to bleed over into other countries, including El Salvador, if you look at, some of the geopolitical scenarios that are going on internationally, and then you also look at the fact that, there's a tremendous amount of these companies that are carrying a significant amount of debt to the point and degree that it makes them almost upside down in terms of what they really should be able to generate versus what they're carrying. We don't have any of that. And, we have signed long-term power agreements in pretty much every locale that we're ramping up. And the benefit that we think that we can kind of extend to the community is that bridge in between the small investor that wants to get in and say, hey, you know, I'd like to invest enough for like one machine, to the institutional investor that says, I'd like to get involved inside of the arena, but I don't want all of this downside risk from the amount of debt that these companies are carrying. And I mean, I think if you've seen this over the course of the past couple of years, the only reason that some of them are still operational is because they can literally go and refinance that debt over the course of time. But there has to be some sort of an offset calculation from investors thinking about the fact that, like, yes, you're going to yield X amount of Bitcoin, but you have almost like 1.5x in debt carried on this company. And how is that going to be able to retain and maintain profitability over the course of time? We just kind of think that, you know, we have a better solution for it. And, you know, we're just really excited to be working with kind of the broader base, because isn't this really what decentralization was supposed to be about? The fact that we can actually leverage crowdfund and community models in a way that, you know, benefits everyone.
Absolutely. And thank you for that, Oz. Kalano, I'm sorry. I know that you're on desktop and you can't raise your hand, so I'm sorry if you felt like you couldn't speak or jump in. But please, like, feel free if you want to jump in, by all means.
Yeah, no, I appreciate. I'm waiting, and sometimes I get noticed, and sometimes I don't. You know, that's just one of those. But no, I will keep quiet now. I'll keep waving in a minute. This is a super interesting conversation. I'm just going through the Quantum website now to kind of get some knowledge on that. But for now, I'm good.
You got it. Thanks, man. Kayla, and then we'll go to Harry.
Yeah, so I actually used to mine Bitcoin back in the day. I had an S9 and I lived in New York. That was a really bad place to mine things. That right there made me go work with a friend who did live in Texas at the time, and we did this like literally for like a year. We figured out like locationally where we could place things to like get a better hash rate. And I don't know if that's exactly how it works because I'm not the miner in this situation, like the one running the miners. But I did personally have an S9, and it wasn't that it was like I had the S9 when the S19 came out, and I was using the S9. But had I been in Texas using the S9, it would have just been an entirely different ballgame. I don't know if people realize how much you can move around the USA and make different amounts of monies with your miners in the USA. I don't know if that's a global thing actually, but I did helium as well. And where you put your helium miners and when you got them, it's so dependent on time. And I just wanted to point that out because yeah, it was something I probably wouldn't have shared. Um, so I guess there's just like that fine line of where like I mean we have to answer these questions that are kind of hard to answer. But my question to you guys with that is, have you noticed that kind of situational, literally like the situational issues? Have you tested that out? Have you had to struggle with that? Has that been a small company issue for you? Because me as a person, it was a big issue. So I see this as a really cool way for me to get back in to something I got cut out of like 5 or 6 years ago.
Hey, Justin, we'll do 1-2 on this one here. So, Kayla, helium is a very different thing here. Helium is going to be a proof of coverage, right? So it's dependent on the location that you have your miners at. So coverage based on other miners around you. But when it comes to Bitcoin, it's a whole new world. And I mean, there's a song about that, but it's just a completely different beast here.
Location for Brooklyn, the electricity was terrible. So
Exactly. And that's where I want Justin or somebody else to kind of hop in because, you know, when it
Yeah,
comes to helium, it's definitely location.
let me hop in here. So you're talking about our I represent Harlem, and you're talking about our beautiful 38 to 50 cents per kilowatt power rates, I believe. That's not including like the huge peak jumps that we get in the summer, which are for a couple hours, but it can go up to like 90 cents per kilowatt. So I think to echo action, we were looking at doing a UBI deployment with helium in Harlem right before COVID hit, and we had talked to T-Mobile about backhaul. The way that helium miners really work well is for things like UBI, and it's where you basically are able to connect to the most powerful backhaul. So what we were doing was negotiating with TMO and then a couple of local nonprofits to kind of sponsor these things to hook them straight onto the 5G antenna. Right. So that would be the highest level of backhaul that you could potentially have for that. It would mine the most. We would be able to hand out like effectively about $150 in UBI per month per miner. But that all kind of went to the wayside with COVID because the two of the nonprofits went bankrupt. On the Bitcoin mining side of this, everything kind of came down to everything that you're talking about, Kayla, was power, right? So, but it was also location, it's also longevity of contract, it's also sustainability of company, and it's also company relationship. Like the one company that we're working with in West Texas, Doug's family has had a relationship with this company going back to the 1940s, when his dad, first talked to them, right? So we have kind of all of that incumbency in place. We have all of the relationships for like the permitting and everything else that you might in Brooklyn. You're going to run into a whole bunch of stuff. I know in Harlem we ran into a bunch of stuff, and we're fighting with the Hochul administration for a hot minute. But most of that's been worked out, and we've got about 2 or 3 different sites that we're going to be lighting up from this WeFund round. And I'm not sure if that answers, in largesse, like
Yeah,
what you.
it does. And I just wanted to say, I already did this math, and what my math led to was Texas. So when I looked in the bio and I saw it was Texas, I was like, okay, I really know they did their work on that end at least.
No, I
Yeah,
appreciate
and
that.
situational, like speaking, I mean, there's a lot of things that led to our early success, I think, and timing is so critical. And Doug alluded to it earlier. Had we and so did Oz. I mean, had we started, our company was incorporated November 11th, 2021, which is the exact top of the market. If you remember, 69,420 was the price of Bitcoin that day. It's also Doug's birthday. Basically, had we started then, right, had the market not kind of collapsed immediately, had we started then, we would have basically been completely drowned by now. But because the market did what the market did, and obviously, Doug and I are, and Oz, I mean, we're all from 3 different religions, but we all have a lot of faith, and we tend to believe in a higher power. Because of those delays, we ended up meeting Justin. We ended up merging with Badgerland, and we ended up doing all of that in the exact right time to be able to catch the exact bottom of the market as far as those miners are concerned. But and everybody's talking about these ETFs lately, and everybody's giving their opinions. Even I've been quoted in the news about their opinion because there's so much hype around it, because everybody wants to talk about it. And hype can drive price, and we saw that yesterday, especially with SEC's tweets and untweets and all that BS. But if you and the first thing that Doug says today, you gotta not get your panties in a wad. I'm going to quote you on that one. But but the famous Bitcoin saying is, when in doubt, zoom out. And anybody who's zoomed out to the daily charts, it's just a few spikes, and growth beats hype when investing any day of the week. And I've been fighting for that my entire career, teaching people, don't, using leverage means you're probably going to lose your money. Think about, companies that have a good chance of growing well over the next 5 or 10 years. Diversify your portfolio, do your research, and that's how you're going to get ahead in the investment world.
Appreciate that, Monty. Thank you. Harry, go for it.
Okay, so you guys keep on bringing up on debt. Okay, so let's put it into perspective, shall we? Clean Spark, look it up. If you want, I could send you guys links. Their debt to equity ratio is 2.3%. Their incredible hash rate currently is 10 exahash per second. They're going to ramp up to 50 exahash per second. That's in terms of Bitcoin mining is monumental. These
Agreed.
are how these Bitcoin mining companies, if you choose to invest, you have to examine the whole. And I'm looking out for investors and creditors. Listen, I got caught up in the Celsius network debacle. I don't know if any of you got caught up with FTX or BlockFi or
No,
Voyager.
I
Right.
know
none,
nothing
literally
about
none of
any of
us. Nobody on our board.
No,
Right.
I'm in New York, and I know Mashinsky personally, but it's just through like social connections. I mean, one of the things that we looked at was Celsius was pretty over leveraged to begin with in the beginning, and we kind of stayed away from that.
Right. But
But
so this
you're
is
right
how
about
my understanding.
CleanSpark, by the way. CleanSpark has a $2 billion market cap. What they've done is phenomenal. And that's one of the beautiful things about the mining industry, especially in the United States, is it's a lot more collaborative than competitive. And, you know, we applaud what they've done. And we believe that we can do that as well, just as good, if not better. And, you know, here you have a chance of getting in at a $25 million market cap rather than a $2 billion. But you should have CleanSpark and Marathon and Riot in your portfolio as well. I'm not knocking that at all.
No, right, Manny, but that's what I'm saying, right? When you examine companies that you choose to invest in or to get your feet wet, again, doing your own research is critical. And my research came because of my Celsius exposure and the bankruptcy process that has taken, this war is going to take plus 2 years to go through. This is why I know a lot about Bitcoin mining. I'm not an expert like you guys are, but I have definitely. And here comes the questions for you. You keep on saying West Texas, which is kind of an interesting place for you to actually set up shop. And the reason why is I'm going to mention another name that you guys should be familiar with, Asher Ganut. I'm sure you guys know who he is. I'm
Go
pretty much
ahead.
sure, yeah, and I'm pretty much sure you know who US Bitcoin Corp is, right? So if you are in the West Texas area, especially around the Granbury or Upton counties, you are seeing or you are literally playing in the uh, backyard of US Bitcoin. And whether you're using their facilities to host or you have your own facilities to host your miners, you are now playing with those big boys as well. And I love companies that are trying to make their own headway in this space because you're right. Some of it's collaborative, some of it's not. The issue is where I'm going to ask you, and this is why I'm asking you about what your energy cost rate is when you are crowdsourcing or funding for investors to grow your business, again, debt free, there needs to be a due diligence and an open forum in which you may not divulge your secret source because I understand why. Obviously, each company has their, special source of how they make their money and how they make their returns on their investors. But these are some of the critical factors that need to be looked at when you invest in a company. And, your energy rate or your energy cost, the type of miners, and the location. Those are three critical factors for any investor to look at, sir.
I
Yes,
would
sir.
I would definitely agree with you for sure. As far as the rate goes, I think I have mentioned that we'll be able to profitably mine through the halving. So I mean, you can take any Bitcoin calculator and kind of do your own math to see what profitable is there after the halving. But I mean, as far as the exact rate, I completely get where you're coming from. So
If
I
I
used
can
to be,
step in here,
yeah.
Justin, if I can step in here. Look, there's three when you're our size, which is that we are under a megawatt of deployment to start, and we're still running the crowdfunder, and we're looking to deploy several megawatts. The challenge of what you're asking is if I were to tell you price and I were to tell you location, you could pretty much figure out exactly who we're buying from, and you could become competitive to us. Okay, that is the biggest challenge that you have in the U.S. I don't know how this is anywhere else, but this is what's happening right, left, and center. And what we also have, which I don't think a lot of folks are aware of, is there's still 2 gigawatts worth of Chinese miners sitting out there. I have a friend of mine who works closely with Huobi, and they're looking right, left, and center to figure out where they can deploy, and they've been scooping people on electric contracts. So, I mean, number one, understand that's part of our caginess on it. Number two is just I think Justin's going to be able to produce reports, and we'll have all this coming out shortly about what our profitability is and that sort of a thing. And if you want, you can reverse some of that yourself. But we're trying to keep some of this close to the chest until we finish the crowdfunder and we expand a little bit more. And I think at that point in time, I think the traditionals, Wolf, that you're looking at from your regular sort of like blue chip companies, that kind of a thing, some of that becomes germane. But when you're starting to talk about companies that are our size coming into the market space, we're providing as much information as we can, notating the fact that we just don't want to get scooped on our locations, which has happened to a number of companies over the past 2-3 years.
Yeah,
So,
and
to answer your question on that one, sir. All right, I do understand where you're coming from, hands down, absolutely. But since I've been dealing with this bankruptcy from another privately held company, right? It's for investors, to come on board and invest, in whatever share they want, whether they're buying, investing in one miner or a couple of miners, $100 or a couple $100,000. I get it, hands down, absolutely. The issue is being kind of more forthcoming, because if you ever go, hopefully none of you ever go through a bankruptcy, but when you do and you see how bad it is, you become a lot wary. And my question for you, right, for you, all of you actually, is would you invest in a company where there are more caginess or more openness? And I'm talking about your own
So Harry,
personal.
okay, let me just jump in real quick, because I think like, because I appreciate what you're doing, right? You're looking out for the everyday person that's going to say, am I going to put $100? Am I going to put $500? Whatever the case is. But I think to make that generalization isn't fair, because what Oz said, to me at least, makes sense, because it's like, if they don't do that, if they don't keep certain things, right, a little bit closer to the chest, maybe they don't exist. And
I'll go.
everybody's
I'll go. You know what? I'll go. I'll come with you here, Harry. Come into our Discord. Sign an NDA. I will map out for you a dozen sites and give you the exact locations and pricing. But without an NDA, I'm not giving that to you. Thank you very much.
Also, we'll need an NDA and a pinky swear, because if you violate that, then we're going to tell the entire internet that you violated the pinky swear.
The pinky swear is absolutely essential. I think that's where you seal the deal.
Let's go. You see that?
Well, I think that you have to protect investors in the U.S. by not sharing that location as well. I think I would be almost worried if the miners were like, "This is exactly where we are and what we're doing."
It's Texas. They're guns.
Pinky swears and guns action. That's all that's needed.
Pinky swears.
Doug's got one under his desk over there.
Actually, trust me, that's what I do for a living, right? I'm a bodyguard, so yeah, no, I know all about guns, and that's not it. The thing about it is, it's not only what or how you guys come across, right, to the community, to the investors, to your creditors, or the group. It's more about how, yes, you want to survive, but you know what? I'm going to ask you this exact question, right? And this is how I test several of these projects, even in the metaverse space. What's your exit strategy? Let's go. CEO on down, please.
We don't have one. Literally, we in our roadmap to raise a Series A and to go for an IPO. But our team is committed to continuously searching for better ways of producing power and better ways of producing Bitcoin. Continue to verify the transactions on chain. and continue to
Yeah,
grow in the
And I'll
space.
Wolf.
go.
Let me answer that a
I
little
was
bit.
gonna say
Let me answer that a
I'll
little
go
bit
next. So
more.
Hold on.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I'll go next real
Yeah,
quick.
let me answer that a little bit more American. So the opportunity that we see, specifically starting with Badgerland and a variety of other companies out there, is that we're about to go into a debt upside down. Okay, and I think and here I'll publish something just to share with. I was going to tweet this out later, but I'll subtweet this so that y'all can see. Um, we're about to go into the financial upside down with debt. Okay, and so we're in a situation where we're not going to have that. And what we see an opportunity over the course of the next 18 months is that there are potentially additional mining companies that are going to have their debt called on them that will have the opportunity to either merge with, partner with, purchase, or something else. And so the reason Maddie's saying that we can't give you kind of a direct out is I think if you're in Asia, if you're in Europe, it's real easy to say these things like we're going to do A, B, and C, and we're going to get there. The landscape ahead for us is so sort of wild, okay? Um, that what we're looking at is finishing this crowd raise, looking at additional capital sequences to this, our A round and a few other things, the opportunity to potentially merge and buy over the course of that, because that's just going to happen. Okay, a lot of these smaller miners out there are going to get crushed by the debt they're carrying. And specifically, when you're looking at most of the commercial loans in this country facing a default probably mid year. Okay, now the long term of this, yeah, we want to go to an IPO. That's the goal, right? We may also merge with a much larger company. That's also a potential. But I think that the straight route that you'd want to say is that, yeah, we'll go towards an IPO, but it is going to be a long and twisty route to get there. And because we are in this market specifically dealing with this commodity at this point in time in history, it's going to be, I just think anyone would be challenged to give you a straight cut. You know, we'll do A, B, C, and D because it may be sub A, sub B. It's going to be a windy, twisty route. And what we want to do is make sure that we're being good shepherds and good stewards of our investors, but at the same point in time, just maximizing the opportunity in front of us. And I hope that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense to me. Like that I definitely hear. Like there's no, because I feel like in this space overall, whether it's Bitcoin, crypto, I mean, there's no perfect roadmap to anything. If anybody says that, oh yeah, they're going to map out this road and this is what it's going to be, I think it makes sense what you said. Yeah, if we can IPO, we IPO. If we get a better deal with this, it's also going to depend on so many different factors, especially when you look at where's the price of Bitcoin going to be at that point, right? So, Oz, that made perfect sense to me. Yeah, is there anything else you want to add, Oz?
Yeah, look at my subtweet that's coming up now. That'll give you kind of an. I was holding on to that one for a hot minute, but that'll give you an idea of how bad it is out there.
Copy. I will pin it to the nest. But in the meantime, I saw that we had David come up. David, how are you?
Hey, what's up? Good to see everyone here, Mati and all the Quantum Expedition team. I'm curious as to like what you guys are feeling going, and I'm sorry I just got back after putting my son to sleep, but I'm curious what you guys are feeling going into the halving, because number usually go up after the halving, but it's also going to be a lot more competitive. So, what's your thoughts? Like, are you dreading the halving as miners, or maybe inscriptions are offsetting the halving sort of cut to profits? How you guys looking at May 2024?
I'm assuming that's open for
Yeah,
anybody on the Quantum team.
yeah, we're looking forward to it. I mean, it's been a big part of our thought process and calculations and everything that we've been doing over the last 2 years. So we certainly are ready for it, as Justin mentioned, even at today's prices, assuming a larger hash rate even, will be quite profitable into the halving. If we can make some money on this crowdfunder, then we'll be able to make another purchase before the halving. But literally, the halving is an integral part of what Bitcoin is. It is what it ensures its value. And and that is something that we're excited about. And I'll be partying with everybody else on the next halving.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Doug, do you want to chime? Doug, sorry, I saw you had a hot mic before. Or David, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm good. I'm just listening in, catching up on the mining banter. I think we've moved on from. We went super quickly into serious business stuff from speculating about insider trading at the SEC 1 hour ago when I left the space. So it's good to see us making that hard pivot without getting a whiplash.
Yeah, for sure. So with the last 5 minutes that we have here for this AMA, and guys, we're gonna do a couple more of these. So I highly encourage everybody to do Harry's up here obviously asking tough questions, and I think this team is doing a great job of answering all those questions, right? I think we're at that point where it's this is kind of what has to happen, especially in this space where that need to happen. So I appreciate everybody obviously for having these convos. But this is open, Mati, for you, Justin, for you, Action. So right now, right, if I wanted to invest $100 or however much, right, what am I doing? I'm going to the link. What am I getting in return? Can somebody kind of just give me the brief, high level overview of what I'm getting for the investment, how it's working?
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully more than $100. Honestly, the $100 are for community participation more than anything. They don't really move the needle for people who are considering an investment of 50,000 or 100,000. That's a little help us make another deployment before the halving. But yeah, you just click on the link. It'll take you to wefunder.com, our page over there. And what you're investing in is called a SAFE, which is a certificate of a simple agreement for future equity, which is basically a way of investing in young startup companies before there's been an official valuation. And the way that it works is that once we do our next valued round, which could be like a Series A or an IPO, the company will have an official valuation from an appraisal, and that's the price that you'll be getting. Your SAFE certificates will convert into preferred shares in the company, so you're getting actually a piece of the company for your investment. And then, of course, we've got more investment perks that you can see, swag, Bitcoin Ordinal series that we're coming out with, and then stretch goals, which are community oriented. We're going to produce a board game, and then if we're able to raise $1 million on this crowdfund, we're going to do a giant desert rave for Bitcoin mining, where everybody's invited.
Got it. Action. Give me in your words, because a lot of people in these spaces are familiar with you. Why am I investing in this? What's the opportunity?
Well, because I signed an NDA and I saw everything that Monty was talking about. He already disclosed there's more than one site. These contracts, these conversations, they're not just happening on a single site, which is why I appreciate where Harry's coming from. But ultimately, the pasture is pretty darn green. At the end of the day, all we're looking for is to deploy more miners. And there was also the question raised, where are we going from here? What's going to happen? The reason why I decided to jump on board with Quantum is because they're not going anywhere. The goal is to continue to mine. I've been mining for over a decade, and what I always look for is, where are we going? What's next? And what's next for Quantum is mining. And I'm like, cool, I can do this for the rest of my life and generate some, long-term generational wealth. That's what I'm looking for. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm part of this thing. And let's be serious. It's an easy way to diversify, right? You can buy Bitcoin. You should be buying Bitcoin. With all this ETF talk, I'm going to do my little public service announcement. Do not buy into the ETF. Please buy real Bitcoin. That's where you should be. Self custody is where it's at. And mining goes hand in hand with that, right? When we mine, we're not buying into somebody else's fund. We're literally mining Bitcoin. We're taking advantage of all of the fees that are going on Bitcoin blockchain right now. That's what's happening. That's why I'm excited. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm going to continue to be here and support what these guys are doing, is because it's it's not only where it starts, but where we should be as Bitcoiners as a whole. I'm not talking about maxis here. There's a place for altcoins in this space, and let me just put that 2 cents out there. There is a place for you to buy altcoins, make profit, and then buy back into Bitcoin, where you can actually really store your value. Just throwing that out there as a treat for everybody.
Let's go. That's the way to close the show. But yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to close on that, but I want to give obviously extend the courtesy anybody on the quantum team or anybody else that has any last questions. Oz, you've been super well spoken this entire time. I appreciate you coming. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way, okay? You've got a lot of opportunities out there to put your money into right now. And I think one of the most significant ones that you can is Bitcoin. But there's two sides to this. Do you invest in the asset or do you invest in the creation of the asset, which can yield you a little bit more over the course of time? And what we're asking you to do is to participate with us, endeavor with us, participate in this American dream of building something that can be a little bit better in a company that has, relationships going back decades inside of Texas, that relationships going back decades inside of a couple other Midwestern states, access to, moving swiftly through regulatory regimes, and just a decent team, that's well experienced inside of the space. I mean, pretty much everyone has at least half a decade, if not a decade of experience inside of blockchain in a variety of different aspects. And, we're looking out for mitigation of risk, and we're looking to build something really cool. And we'd love to have you along for the ride.
Well said.
And to profit with us.
I like that part. I want to profit. I need the SEC to cooperate though. But yeah, Mati, I know Justin dropped. Mati, any last words?
I think Oz summed it up pretty brilliantly. And then for everybody, who's got more questions or wants to keep up with the project, check out our Discord. We are building like true degens. We are building on Discord. We're on the voice chat there. Most of our meetings are in the water cooler of the Discord channel. So that's discord.quantumexpeditions.com. We'd be very happy to see you there.
Amazing. And guys, I put the link up at the top, and we'll be sharing them. If you missed any of the links, this was obviously recorded, so feel free to come back and listen to this. I'm going to be grabbing some amazing snippets from this. We're going to be throwing out some audiograms on this. Really, really great conversation. Like Harry and every other speaker on here, I really appreciate you guys coming through and you're doing the work for the people over here. So I genuinely appreciate you guys. Kalano, Lucas, Poppy, Kayla, great questions. David, thanks for coming up. And obviously to the quantum team, I'm looking forward to this. This is the first of, knock on wood, hopefully very many to come in the very near future. And yeah, our next one is actually going to be on the Wolf Financial channel. So stay tuned. Obviously, make sure that you're following every one of these speakers. But thank you guys, and everybody have a great day. And let's get these ETFs approved already, please. Number go up.
I'll see you guys on the next.
Thanks for having us, man. Thanks for hosting.
Of course. Have a great day, everybody.